Hey there, Joomla fans. Tim Davis here. I'm a Joomla fan too, and today I'm going to talk to you about the new, I'll get the acronym right here, General Data Protection Regulations that the European Union is bringing in. And that will be the topic of Maintenance Monday number 38. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for your support of this channel. Hello, Heyo and Vinny. Thanks for tuning in. And appreciate coming back. Looking forward to a good discussion today because this is a topic that's super hot right now, especially because on May the 25th, the GDPR is supposed to be in effect. And so basically what that means is that if you are collecting user data from anyone in Europe, you want to know and make sure that your site is compliant. So we're going to take a look today at just some helpful links as a primer. I am not a lawyer, and I did not play a lawyer on television either, so I cannot give really super duper legal advice, but as one of the little guys, we're just going to take a look at some of the links that will help us catch up or introduce us to the requirements of the GDPR and having our Joomla sites compliant, and just talk about some of the issues. And then what I'm hoping afterwards is we can get into a chat and go to the chats and maybe even share maybe some of the extensions or some of the resources that you're using to get your sites GDPR compliant. So, and if you are watching on the recording of this live stream, why not subscribe? That would be awesome. Subscribe, ring the bell so you get notifications of new live streams and tutorials, and that would be great. And if you're watching live now or watching and recording later on, why not give the video a like, and that will help others find it. So let's head on over to the computer screen here. Let me get this out of the way there. That's the controls for my camera. Just to tell you, congratulations, Randy Z. You won April's Basic Joomla Tutorials giveaway. You already know because I contacted you. Randy won a 1-year membership to myjoomla.com to manage one site, or a 1-month membership to manage unlimited sites. Also, a free 1-year subscription to any Regular Labs Pro version extension, and Extension Pro version, and a copy of Joomla 3 Explained from OS Training and Joomla Shack. And so, this month's contest is underway. Head on over to basicjoomla.com, click on giveaways, and you will see 11 ways to enter to win those prizes. Okay, so just a few links that I've got here, a few tabs that I have open that I thought I'd share with you, because just as a good primer for GDPR. And then also, right after I share those links, I'm going to talk about just a couple of my thoughts on the GDPR and why it's good to have our sites compliant with that. And then we'll go to the chat. So the first article is one from j2store.org. This is the shopping cart extension that I use on my Joomla sites, and it's I'm really enjoying it. But anyways, they have a great article from March the 14th on what is the GDPR and how is it important for small and medium businesses. Because I think that we're aware that the big businesses out there definitely are going to have to become compliant. But how important is it for us as small and medium businesses? So I have other links to all of these in the description below, so you can check those out afterwards. The next link is from richieweb.com. He has some extensions. I'm not going to look at the extensions right now. I actually haven't looked at really any extensions to make sites GDPR compliant, but he did have a good, just little quick blog entry here, and he linked to two things. One, U.S. businesses can't hide from the GDPR. So I'm up in Canada, but that's basically the same issue. If you're not in the European Union, or in a country in Europe that's in that union, then what's important to know about those regulations. So he links to an article in Forbes, which I have also placed in the description below, just with some information on that. And then also he mentions this second question that he asked: does your business have more than 250 employees? Article 30. So I got interested in seeing just what that implication was, what he was referring to. So I went to the GDPR website, eugdpr.org, and found this page with more resources. Like I said, the link's in the description below. And also, here's a link to the actual text, 261 pages. And you can scroll down and take a look at what Article 30 is. And what I found out is that what it's referencing in Article 30 of that of those regulations is that if your company is more than 250 employees, you have to have a designated officer whose job it is to cleanse user information that you've collected in the processes of running your website. Someone will answer that upstairs, I'm sure. And it might get noisier here anyway. So I've got 3 grandkids, 2 kids, and a kid-in-law here today. So they're all upstairs. And so who knows who might break in through the door if that happens. Anyways, back to GDPR. So I thought, well, I wanted to look up Article 30 because I do not have 250 employees. And I was wondering, does that mean without 250, does that exclude me from having to be compliant? So I've put a link to the full 261 pages for those of you who like to read legal stuff, and for those of you who have a hard time falling asleep, perhaps. So those are some basic get-going links that I have placed in the description below. And then just let me share some of my thoughts here. First of all, am I going to make my sites GDPR compliant? And I am going to for a number of reasons. First of all, it's the law. Now, I live in Canada. It's not the law in Canada. But I heard a really interesting discussion on the radio the other day saying that large companies are going to be programming and configuring so that they are compliant with the strictest of rules wherever they are internationally. And as is sometimes the case, or often the case, Europe is leading the way with the strictest requirements for how companies manage their users' data. And so we can expect to see that at least the GDPR requirements are going to become the bare minimum of major businesses and eventually of practices around the world. So I would imagine other countries are either going to adopt them or maybe even make them more strict, although I can't see that happening in North America because we tend not to be the leaders in strictness of rules in some cases, although there's other examples in other fields where we are. So it's the law, and probably just the easiest way to avoid hassle is to do what's necessary, put the practices into place to be compliant. The other thing that I was going to, and I've already mentioned that the EU is leading the way, so eventually that's going to be the path for all websites. The other thing that I would say is that being GDPR compliant and having the pop-up that says we use cookies, do you have permission? Is that okay or not? Accept or decline. That's another way for our sites to look bigger, or our businesses or our clients to look bigger, to keep them mainline, to keep them just like the large sites that their customers would be going to have that same appearance. And this sort of harkens back to something that I think is really cool about the web and the internet from its beginning, when it was really taking off for the public to use. And that is, even the smallest company could look so much bigger and better, maybe not even necessarily better than they are, but could really compete with the big guys because they, with a little bit of money, a little bit of ingenuity and effort, could have a website as nice as the large sites, as large companies. And I think we've all had experiences where we've gone to the website for a large company and it's been so terrible. We thought, wow, how can such a big company have such a poor presence on the web? So by being compliant and by having everything in place, it's a way of fitting into the global perception of economy and businesses, and just another tool to have in our arsenal as small businesses or medium-sized businesses to avoid the potential or that situation where someone visiting the site might say, well, I'm going to buy this from someone bigger, or I'm gonna look to one of the bigger companies for their advice on this. It'll help to wipe that out and make us look like the big guys. I think maybe that you can see what I'm getting at there. So that's the internet is a great leveler. Even when you think about it, right now, I'm sitting at home in my basement, broadcasting live around the world to, as I look now, 6 people. I'm not even one of the 6 this week. And you can hear my voice, you can see my video, and that all just for the basic computer setup that I've got. I could be doing it from the phone that I walk around with, clipped to my belt loop. So that's a pretty amazing thing. And so I think we can just embrace these changes with the GDPR, and have everything have everything hunky-dory. And it's not a bad thing for us to communicate to our visitors, to our clients, to our users, that we are being responsible with their data. Now, I suppose some people out there are just probably going to have a pop-up that says, you want to accept cookies or not? I mean, you basically could set up a pop-up that does that and not even do it. But as we've learned with things like Google, white hat is good, bad, a black hat is bad. Just do what you can, just keep compliant with regulations, with best practices, and you're going to see your website, your Joomla site, advance and grow. So those were just some of my basic thoughts. I thought I'd share a few links. Does it fit in on Maintenance Monday? Yes, I think so, because how we take care of the data, the user data we collect on the people that are signing up or visiting our sites, it is becoming a maintenance issue, and it's becoming a legal issue for many. So yes, definitely, I think that we just do that work, get all of our sites updated so that they are compliant with the GDPR regulations, or the GDP regulations. So let's head to chat. But before I head to chat, I know sometimes people leave at this point. So I do want to thank you for watching this channel and for your support of it. Like I said before, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Ring that bell for notifications of new live streams and tutorials, and as a way to support the channel and get the word out of what we're doing here to others as well. So if you're signing off now, heading off, thank you very much for watching. Enjoy your sites, and enjoy your Joomla sites, and God bless. All right, now for those of you that are staying around, I was just wondering, what extensions are you using, or are you trying, or would you recommend for GDPR compliance for your Joomla site? Or maybe even just share your thoughts about what I said before, or also, boy, it's a busy time for phone calls today. Usually that thing doesn't ring. Oh, or what you said before. What was I saying? I lost my train of thought there. Or your thoughts about GDPR, or even what you're working on, or if you have some sites you've already done that with, go ahead and. In fact, if you say hello, as some people have already done in chat, what I can do is I'll add you as a moderator, and that will allow you to paste URLs right to extensions and to resources that you might want to share with everybody. Otherwise, pasting URLs is off because of spam, the potential for spam in the chat. Now, Vinny, it's 7 o'clock. That's usually... Is that a bad time? Is this about the time you have to go out and pick somebody up? Hayo, I think that the gantry fonts are loaded from the Google fonts are loaded. The RocketTheme fonts are loaded from Google. I don't think they're loaded from Gantry. The only reason being is that there are so many options for those fonts. The size of the template on the install would be huge if all the available fonts were there. So I'm pretty sure, and I'm not saying that as informative, but although Vinny is saying it's loaded from Google. Thanks, Vinny. All right, so Vinny has the authoritative word there, and we'll give that to him. Someone commented after the video, because we got discussing this last week. We mentioned GDPR well into the chat at the end of the main part of last week's live stream, and mentioned that they weren't so concerned about Google Fonts as they were about Google Analytics collecting data and what's involved, or how to alert people about that. And in fact, I believe that if we go back just to look at this, just quickly in passing by at richieweb.com, he has 4 extensions, and one of them was cookieless YouTube playback of videos. So it's possible that that is an issue as well for YouTube that people are thinking about. Yeah, I guess in the check the source code, Vinny, that's a good tip. Just view the page, right click, and see where the fonts are being pulled from in the URL when we view the code. That would be a good way to confirm that. Now, chat, by the way, chat is being recorded with my videos for playback as well, so I don't need to record it on the screen, but just the same, I think it's a little bit easier because sometimes chat gets pushed down the side of the page by some of the other things that were used for YouTube. So I'm still going to keep recording chat in this window till something more spectacular, exciting can go there. So I think what so I was running through my mind today what some of my clients are. So for instance, I have a client, a local shop that does trailer hitches, and I manage their website for them. I don't need to have them be GDPR compliant because nobody is going to order a trailer hitch to be installed on the back of their car by this shop that's just very local. So I'm not going to worry about that. If there's an extension that I find that will put up the cookie warning based on the country of origin, the IP, I probably will put it on there just so that it does pop up just in case. But that's not really a high priority. Now, I have another client that I do that is selling courses online for training firemen. Most of the clients are in Canada, and I suppose there's the potential that some from Europe could visit that page. It would have a broader appeal because of the topic, and so I am going to get their site to be compliant, especially they sell courses. So if someone ever did buy one of their courses, although again they're very oriented towards North America, then it would be covered by that. I have a site with lots of jokes and funny pictures and inspirational pieces and sermon illustrations and all sorts of things, and it has global appeal and gets traffic all around the world all the time, and a lot from Europe. So I am going to make sure that that is compliant as well. All right. Hyo says he uses Google Fonts and RocketTheme, but can't find Google Font links in there. Okay. Hyo has put a link there. Let me just open that up and we'll check that. Let me just take a look at that link that he's just shared. Okay, this is your, you've shared a link to your site for us to look at the fonts. Okay. Vinny, you said that you find that small businesses in the U.S. are not concerned about the GDPR. Yeah, I think probably the fines for violating GDPR are, I think it's a maximum of 10 million or 20 million euros or 4% of your global income. And one that's smaller, or whichever is bigger or smaller, but yeah, so I could see why a lot of smaller businesses are not worried about that. And again, the point of them looking like they're established and everything's good is it may be similar to having having the secure certificate sign up at the top, the secure sign, the green padlock. There was a time where people say, no, I don't want to buy, I don't want to have a secure certificate, I don't want to buy it. And now, though, with browsers showing a red word saying that it's not secure, it's really important for people to have that just for communication and for comfort for people who are visiting. Just reading your comments here, Hyo. So I have to be sure, insert this text into my data protection. Google Web Fonts. This site uses so-called web fonts. Oh, okay. You have that. Okay, I see. Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying there. Just to make sure you're putting in the text, this site uses Google Web Fonts. All right. Okay, that's probably a good way. If one of the extensions is you're able to customize the message that comes up, that'll be great, because you could say we could say just as you said, this site uses cookies as well. Part of the artistic presentation of the site is using Google Fonts, and we keep track of the health of our page or the traffic of our page using Google Analytics. And if you agree, continue to surf. So I can see that. To do this, the browser you are using must connect to Google servers. This gives Google knowledge that our website is being accessed via your IPs. Yep. The use of Google Web Fonts is in the interest of a uniform and appealing presentation of our online offers. This represents a legitimate interest within the meaning of Article 6, Paragraph 1 of... Oh, okay, I like that. Yeah. If your browser does not support web fonts, the default font is used by your computer. Further information about Google Web Fonts. Okay. Oh, why can't you write on YouTube any longer? Okay, any longer than those texts. Because... probably to keep people from just spamming and killing the chat. So if someone were able to post 1,000 characters, and I think you're limited to 250, so let's say 5,000 characters, it would be so hard to follow the chat along. So it's not really made... oh, and Twitch doesn't have that problem, okay. The other thing, too, is that oftentimes, and I have it turned off on chats for this channel, is that... they do have a restriction so that someone can't chat twice within 60 seconds, and I have that turned off. It's not that big a problem for our channel, for my channel here, because there's not that many people in anyways. But if you got someone in there that's just spamming over and over and over again, then you need to turn that on. But yeah, Twitch doesn't have that problem. Yeah, once again, I was telling someone some of my ideas for what to do on Twitch. I thought about going on there and just working on sites and working on different issues and problems and seeing who tunes in, but got to get around there and get my try new things brain cells lined up for doing things like that. My plan is to see what links to what extensions are shared, not only in chat today, but also in the comments in the weeks following, or in this following week to this video. And then I'm going to check out some of them myself and see if I can settle in on one based on recommendations or what people are showing, and then maybe cover it next week, or maybe cover it with a tutorial. Though I've got a few tutorials for some extensions people asked me to make that I'm behind on. So. All right, so Vinny is saying, looks like your template has some fonts in the directory. Templates, RT, Versala fonts. Okay, so if we go view page source, and when did I switch over for this here? Now I'm just going to go F3 and look for FONT, and there's the media gantry asset CSS font awesome. That's the only one that font shows up there. Wonder awesome. What's the line in there that you see that? Oh, there's font awesome. That's the only thing showing up in that script. Directory templates RT Versala fonts. Well, you probably have used Element Inspector, haven't you, on that page? So let's do that. This is F12. Use this button on the left to check out. And I think that yes, okay, in the CSS code. And then it shows somewhere sources, I believe, right? So here's a source here. There's a Hootsuite Hootlet. Now that's probably showing the source from my browser. Google Analytics, Analytics.js shows the code there. Tailwind, that's also an extension I'm running on my browser. Images, media, Gantry 5, assets, modals, Joomla, JC Optimize. Still don't see that where you're seeing that line there, Vinny. And what am I clicking on the wrong thing? I'm in sources. Elements, okay. Click elements. Oh, you're talking about over here at the side. Element. Font family. Okay, then computed. All right, we'll go to computed. And I guess I want to be on something that had, so I'm looking at heading 1 there. Font family, Source Sans Pro Helvetica. Font family. Okay. Oh, great. The UPS just flickered. So I had a laptop die during a presentation at a conference on the weekend. And actually die, not need reboot, but I have to take, I've got the hard drive out, and that was I didn't want to be the computer guy whose presentation failed while he was doing it. And so we made sure everything was working right with the PowerPoint and the video that I wanted to show, and then the thing just died. It'll show you the file. Okay, so it comes from this file here. Click on there. And I'm going to scroll around here. All right, boy. No. It's showing the CSS. Now this is JCH optimize file. We start over here. I'm going to pick a different paragraph. So we'll go to compute it, we go to font family, we click on there. Okay, and it takes us right to where the font family is. All right, so let me back up a bit here. Hayo, are you actually using a font that's a Google font, or is this perhaps a font that was unique and that they did embed in the template by itself? This is probably where it's better to do something like this on Twitch, I'm guessing. What I'm going to do is going to copy all of that, put it in a notepad on my other window here, paste it down and search for okay, the font's available in the template that you use. Okay. I guess the other thing would be to look on your file space somewhere in the template where you'd have to have those exact you'd have to have those font files there, which are often in RocketTheme ones. Those what are they? WOFF files or something. It is a font, but it's possible too that and I don't really know, because I think further up, I think, was it you, Vinny, that said that it's your browser that is connecting to Google to get the font, so it's not going to be embedded in any compressed files or that. All right, let's see here. You can see it directly from. All right, let's give that a try. Okay, and Vinny's got a link there too. Let's check that out. 2 approaches to adding local fonts in the theme. The first adds your new local font to the font picker, which enables you to set the font to a specific area aspect of your site. The second method sets the font active to the theme globally. Looks like they're in a YAML file. Okay, adding a new font to the font picker. If you would like to make your new font accessible to the font picker, you'll need to make an edit to the theme.yaml file to add the font and set its font weight associations. The theme.yaml file is essential for your theme to work. If you're making an edit to this file, be advised that this edit will be likely overwritten in the event of a theme update. This is really only recommended for developers creating their own gantry theme for advanced users. Here are the steps you need to make this happen. Gantry does not. Okay, so you're saying they're in there. Yeah, there's that WOFF file, because I've had the WOFF file show up as missing in SH404 SEF when it shows missing files or broken URLs, and I've updated templates and actually found it. So those fonts are on there. First thing you want to do is rename the web font subfolder. This will make life easier for you. The next step, organizing multiple uploaded web fonts will be simpler. Okay. And they're showing the path there. G5 Helium, custom fonts, Gaspar. Next, add the local file. So this is uploading them to the server. Okay. Here's a quick reference to the font numbers. Adding your custom font files. Okay, yeah, so you haven't. So Hayo, you say you didn't install any extra fonts. Are they, so are the fonts you're using, do you think, are they showing up in the file path for that site in, go back up here, custom fonts, and then see what they're listed? Are they all, is the one that you're using, are all the ones that you have available to you listed there? That would be a good thing to say. Okay, so here's another link from Vinny here. Right there, a tutorial. Based on Google Fonts, the font picker gives you immediate access to over 600. So that's got, okay. So I would say there are fonts that you can add and upload and draw directly from your site. And then obviously there's ones based on Google Fonts. Yeah, are they on your server or Google now? So Hayo, I'm gonna guess, and you guys tell me if you think this is the right conclusion, that that in your template there are some that are uploaded, and I'm gonna guess with RocketTheme they upload the one unique one that shows with their demonstration template. They've got one just for duplicating the exact look that you want. But that if you want to change other fonts, you can upload them to your server and serve them from there, according to the tutorials that we're looking at here. Or you can say, no, load a Google font. And if you're loading a Google font, I'm gonna say that that's Google that's hosting those, because there's no way that you're gonna have 600 open source fonts available sitting right on your site, unless there's some kind of process that uploads them. And the experiment to do would be to pick a new font to look at your file space, see what fonts are there, pick one that's not there, select it, apply it, view it on your page, and then see if it has been uploaded. And if it hasn't been uploaded, it doesn't just magically appear there, because that would be the magic of programming, then it's being pulled from Google. A little tricky to see, and I guess some of that looking at the sources too is best done without any compression or any plugins that accelerate or that compress different things, because then you'll see the actual raw where everything's being pulled from. That said too, here's something that we could possibly try. So I'm at your site there, Hayo, and I'm going to go to look at it with GT metrics, because what they will often show can you select all Google fonts via gantry? Let me just go right into basic. I don't even know my basic Joomla doc. Let's just do this. I don't even know if basic Joomla is using a gantry template yet. So I'm going to go into this site that's got a gantry. I don't know how update this template is for options, but now that we're there, now I'm also going to drown in a bunch of windows here. So I'm going to close some of these others that we've been looked at and talked about earlier. We go components, gantry 5 themes, and then I'm going to go to base styles, and here's the body font, and page settings, collapse all. To find where to do it, I haven't changed the font in a while. Well, that is not working, clearly. Okay, so Vinny, you've got the Rocket theme that he's using, and you've got just the main font file installed in a directory. If you switch it from Source Sans Pro, you'd probably be using their font picker. All right. Now, it doesn't help that my site is not allowing me to pick different fonts there. So let's see, basic Joomla /Rocket theme. See if I can remember how to log into this site. It's been a while since I was in. Oh yeah, this whole thing here. RocketTheme Administrator. Apparently, I know why, because I think this is one of the ones I organized that was nested inside of another Joomla install administrator. There we go. Which is not RocketTheme.basic. Okay, now we can go to components, gantry 5 themes, available themes. Let's do hydrogen. Configure that. Body font. There we go. Now we get the option. Okay, it's working. So search the font. You have 783 to search for. Yeah, so that's got to be pulling it from. That has to be pulling it from Google Fonts. Let's search for fonts with K. Butterfly Kids. Yeah, let's go with Butterfly Kids. Select. Save the style. Preview. And let's go to let's go back to the GT Performance. There's usually a waterfall here that shows where things are coming from. So you've got where files are being gotten from. There's you're using Cloudflare as well. So there, it's pulling that Font Awesome from Cloudflare. Font Awesome is for those little icons, right? Recompile CSS. Good. Thank you for reminding me that. And I just changed this on the base style for that font for. Here, let me just put butterfly for everything here just to make it easier. Okay. Save the style, recompile, preview. Now I'm going to go back to GT metrics here and see. You have 102 requests. gstatic.com images, gstatic translate. There's Translate Google API. WordPress content themes. Well, that's interesting. Is that a word? That's not. Is that a WordPress site? Oh, it's not your website. Okay, there you found it. Gallant Knight Google Font 2 fonts Google. Yeah. Okay. So it is pulling from it. So I think that we're probably safe then to conclude, as being looking as Vinny showed by finding those tutorials with RocketTheme. RocketTheme templates are coming with a default custom font that matches the look of what they're doing, of the demo site. And if you change to one of the other fonts by searching Google Fonts, it's being pulled in off of Google Fonts. And there you go. So, and with respect to GDPR, if you want to have just have something for everybody to read the terms of service of using your site, say that, just like you had posted at Hio, that the fonts are being used for the presentation and design of the site, so that they all know. Oh, there we go. RocketTheme and GDPR. Asked to make a statement here about RocketTheme's templates and themes and how they're affected by the upcoming new rules. Rocket themes and any supporting extensions or plugins do not collect user data. Themes are built to be as compliant as possible with the latest security and privacy standards. We believe there's no reason we are aware of that any of our supported products would violate either GDPR or UK data protection rules. There are several particles associated with some of our Gantry 5 templates that enable for functionality such as snip cart, shopping cart, or reservations to be made on the front end. These particles rely on third-party solutions to handle any user data and do not collect or retain any customer information themselves. So you should be able to use your RocketTheme templates, themes, extensions, and plugins without any problems with the new rules. However, it is the responsibility of the developer to ensure that any additional scripting and or functionality they have added to the websites they manage to be in compliance. Yeah. Hio, just reading that about saying that CDN is the next problem. One of the interesting things, comments that I read was, and I think it was in the Joomla Facebook group, was who understands the GDPR regulations, or who interprets them? And it seemed that the response, basically that question, or whatever, the question similar to that was, it's the people who are interpreting it, trying to cover themselves in order to be compliant, that are the ones that right now are interpreting it and trying to use it. So it's not like it's being figured out along the way, which I would guess. And again, remember, like I said, I'm not a lawyer and I'm no legal expert, but I think with anything this massive, once it's introduced, there's going to be cases that come up that nobody anticipated. So certainly right now, the spirit of this is take care of your visitors' data and what you collect from them. Don't do it. Don't keep it longer than you need to. Don't have it so that it's out there so that people can it's going to compromise their identities. And also don't be selling it all around to influence elections all around the world and collecting more and more and more than you should. So there's that big, huge spirit of the law, which will force a lot of companies in line, and especially with the threat of large fines, is going to scare them into being compliant. And then for the rest of us who are smaller guys, we just need to, again, continue on in that spirit of things. Like, for instance, nobody is contacting me for the user information of most of my sites, none have contacted me for any of my sites. But what I mean is, most of my sites, there's no user information that could do anything for them. I do have a newsletter with, I think it's like 17,000 subscribers to it. And I've always said I don't sell this or trade or to use it and give it to anybody else. And I have that information based on the, I keep their information because they're subscribers. Now, even having just said that, I probably have a list of all the people that are, when people unsubscribe and don't want to be contacted anymore, it keeps their email address there and says, hey, don't subscribe, don't contact me anymore. I still have their email address. What I should do is find all those people and delete them and not store their data. So again, that's more in this. To me, it seems like that's more in the spirit of GDPR regulations than it so much as it is find out everything down to the last site, and they find out that Tim Davis has those emails and some of them are from Europe. Then they're going to investigate how much money I make every year on my website and charge me 4% of it, or 20 million, whichever is larger or less. So yeah, Vinny posted it there. So yeah, so it will be interesting to see what comes afterwards out of this. And so we're only going to see big cases from companies that do mess up. They don't report a data breach. They don't, or upon investigation, they have more than 250 employees. They have no one assigned to be purposefully deleting information, or sites that someone is going to, somebody that wanted their stuff downloaded, they want a copy of their invoices or whatever, and they weren't given. For large companies, I suppose we could probably see maybe some smaller fish, quote unquote smaller fish, coming under legal action because they've been found to be spamming or putting hacks on servers or doing really, really bad stuff like that. And so this is a tool for the EU to go after them. But that's as far as the little people go. It's going to. I don't think we'll see many stories early, unless someone wants to be vindictive, or there's someone that's really small and really insists on dealing with a company and forcing them a certain way and has a grudge, and then tries to create trouble for them because they aren't doing the same thing as a big company. It's interesting just to see on Twitter, if you follow Phil Taylor, he's at my Joomla. I think he's at my Joomla, or at Secure Joomla. He posted that yesterday a client contacted him and said, he wanted all of his data deleted and removed based on GDPR regulations. So Phil complied and deleted everything he had on this guy. And then the next day, and Phil tweeted about this, the next day the guy or gal, whoever it was, contacted and Phil said, I would like to download a copy of all my invoices from the past however long period. And Phil said, yeah, sorry, that's gone. So that's the unintended consequence for someone. They wanted their information removed and deleted, and I guess which opens up a possibility of, I guess you could get a class action lawsuit going too. I don't know if they have the equivalent of that in the European Union. But here in Canada, for instance, one person, this came up against, I think it was Bell, who is a cell phone provider, and they do other things on the internet. He signed up for television, a cable package, and the deal was for 2 years the price will not go up. And he said yes, and the salesman on the phone or the tech guy said, yeah, and I will email you this conversation or the terms of this. The guy gets them, and it says, prices may go up, and in fact they're going up in 2 months. And that guy went and sued Bell in small claims court. He filed for the transcript of that telephone call, got it, and he won his case in small claims court. And because it just happened to him, they talk about the possibility now of what I was just talking about, a class lawsuit, which is someone sues on behalf of all customers that's happened to, and they sue for damages and also an amount which is a penalty, and then they invite people, if they can prove that happened to them, to join in, and they get a percentage of what's awarded. Of course, the lawyers running the suit get a lot of money as well. So you could probably see the possibility where if someone said, I contacted my telephone provider. Now this, of course, is going to happen in Europe because that we're talking about. I contacted my telephone provider and they are not keeping and they said that they couldn't, or they had, but then 2 months later I got an email from them asking me if I wanted to sign up again, and they were supposed to have cut it off, and everyone else says, yeah, that's happened to me, and they all join in. But again, that's again for a big company. So alrighty, it seems to me that, and as I've thought for myself and for the clients that I manage, that all I need to do is be aware of the spirit of this, and also the individual aspects of it. And if I have a client that's collecting payment information and is international, inform them and have them set up properly. Tell them the reasons why I would have the pop-up, even just for them to fit in with the new general norm that's coming to all the larger companies. But that that for the most part, I'm, if not already, very soon, going to be able to find there'll be some extensions that do all of this for us. And that, isn't that the beauty of Joomla? Instead of us all having to program our own solution, we can find a free extension or plugin, or buy one, install it, and just choose the settings. Do I want a pop-up? Yes. Do I want people to have the option to delete their username and any articles that they've written? That's something that one extension does I was looking at. Yes, I want to offer that. Now, that creates a bunch of broken links, so you may very well have to, when someone signs up for an account, say any articles that you create and publish publicly will remain published and are excluded. You know, you're offering them, you're giving ownership of them to appear on this site only, something like that. But we're basically going to end up somewhere with a really good package that's one of the best plugins to add, and a lot of us are just going to go and check some boxes and everything will be good. Also, it's going to make its way into shopping carts, into form systems, like for submitting forms, into things like Community Builder, and the other one that escapes my name, the big one for making communities. And there's going to be options there, and you're going to be able to log into your profile and say, do you want to download everything you've ever done on our site? Do you want to wipe out everything you've ever done? Do you want to just disappear off of the site? And again, we're all going to be just using those options, and it's going to slowly come online, especially when the big companies that are using Joomla need that functionality. I don't know if you saw in the Facebook group the other day, but someone mentioned they would love to see a GDPR core aspect to Joomla, and who was interested in that and helping to develop it. So that's another thing too. And that's the yeah, Vinny, I do like how they're addressing it as well. And that's the great thing about our community, the Joomla community, is that all together there are people that are saying, yeah, I see that link there, Vinny. I'm going to open it up here. There are all together in a community, there are people saying, hey, I'm going to tackle this. Hey, I've developed an extension. Hey, I've added this to my suite of extensions. And together as a community, we're empowered and enabled to just keep up with the big guys who have lots of money to pay programmers to do custom things. And we're in there like a dirty shirt, which is probably maybe just a Canadian or North American a colloquial term. But we're in there like a dirty shirt, and keeping up and putting out the great stuff that we can do on Joomla. Yeah, I saw that was one of the links that I saw earlier when I was talking about, when I thought of that when I mentioned about forms there, Vinny, that there was one on how to be, this is create GDPR compliant forms in Joomla with RS Form Pro. And that's from January 26th. Okay, so what is GDPR? Will it affect my business? What are the GDPR requirements? Yeah, that's good. How can RS Form Pro? So a blog post on how to do that. That's great. You know what? Right now, I'm going to take that and I'm going to add that to the description of the video during the chat after the thanks, Vinny. I'm going to give you credit right in there. The I'm going to paste that link right in the description of the video so others can see that, because that's another good post. All right, I've lost my screen here, and I've lost my chat, so I can see where things are at. So that's right, Hio, community power. And I'm going to say that that is a puckering kiss emoticon. Okay. Great. Well, hey, this has been really good. And I may very well follow up with more of this next week, just because the deadline is coming up May 25th, and maybe show what solution I've found. But maybe later on in the comments, or even if you want, you can send it to me at, here, I'll type my address again. Extensions that you're using, or that you like, or that you settle in on, shoot them to me, and maybe I'll be able to choose one for myself and take a quick look at it next week, and we'll talk about more of these issues or anything that comes up in the chat. So leave things in the comments below, or email them to me, and we'll go from there. Guys, it's been really good. I look forward to the chatting Monday afternoon. Usually Monday morning I think, oh boy, what am I going to do today's stream on? And then I find something, and I kind of get together, and I knew today we were going to have a really great chat afterwards, and that's I like that. So that's excellent. If there's not anything else there, and hello to the other two people who are lurking out there. One of them may be Mary. One of them may be my friend Rick. Who knows? Who knows out there? But I'm glad that you're listening, because that helps the channel as well. And it's nice to know that you're just tuning in and catching in on things and listening, and I appreciate that. Yeah, Vinny, this is really enjoyable. It is. Mary is there. Hello, Mary. It's almost supper time for you, so that's good. So thanks, everybody. This has been awesome again, and look forward to the next time that we get together like this. Later on this month, I've got some traveling to do, and it's going to have me away from doing the live stream on my computer. So I'm trying to come up with some ideas, something just to keep the streak going, and check in. So yes, and Mary's supposed to give us details about RSS feed and admin, and I really want to sort out doing it in a chat, sort of in a live stream discussion while she does that, so we can learn from that together, and I can get that aspect of things going too. So I haven't forgotten about that. I haven't forgotten about many things that I want to do. So anyways, thanks everyone. It's been great, and till I catch you again, enjoy your Joomla sites, and God bless.